I'm standing at the edge of a lake. The water should be clear. However, it isn't. The surface is coated in a thick green film, dense enough to scoop with your hands. It smells wrong. Not rotten exactly, just alive. 500 years ago, the Aztecs scraped this off the water, pressed it into cakes, and ate it every single day. Not because it tasted good, but because without it, their empire collapses. This isn't a superfood, it's what you eat when running out of options is no longer theoretical. At its height, the Aztec capital, Tenochtitlan, was one of the largest cities on Earth. Hundreds of thousands of people living on a single island in the middle of a lake. No pasture land, no grazing fields, no herds waiting outside the city. Just water. And cities don't starve all at once. They starve slowly. First, prices rise. Then portions shrink. Then certain foods quietly disappear. And the Aztecs weren't feeding just families. They were feeding messengers who ran all day. They were feeding soldiers who marched long distances. They were feeding an empire that only worked as long as people could keep moving. Hunger wasn't a crisis. It was background noise, and background hunger forces decisions. That looks insane in hindsight. Do you know what this thick green slime is? If you don't, stick till the end for the shocking truth. Tenochtitlan wasn't just a city, it was a machine. Messages moved faster than enemies expected. Orders arrived before resistance could organize. But speed has a cost. Runners burn calories, soldiers burn calories, cities burn food, and the Aztecs had almost no animals to convert grass into protein. No cattle, very few large domesticated animals at all. Protein was rare. Land was limited. The population kept growing. So the question stopped being, what should humans eat? And became, what can a system survive on? They needed food that didn't need land, didn't need care, didn't escape, didn't disappear. They needed something that could fail last. And all around them, the answer was already there. To outsiders, it looked like filth. To the Aztecs, it looked like infrastructure. The Aztecs called it Tecuitlatl. It formed naturally on Lake Texcoco, a blue-green layer floating just beneath the surface, thick enough to gather, thin enough to regenerate. People waded into the water, skimmed it by hand, laid it out under the sun. It dried quickly, pressed easily, stored without rotting. And the most important part, when you harvested it, it came back. Again. And again, and again. No planting, no irrigation, no waiting seasons, just patience. And patience is cheaper than land when you're running out of both. When the Spanish arrived, they were horrified. They wrote about it with disgust. Mud, slime, lake scum. Something no civilized people should eat. But the Aztecs weren't improvising. They had tested this. Tecuitlatl could be harvested in massive quantities, stored for long periods, transported easily, eaten without cooking. It fed runners before long journeys, workers hauling stone, builders raising temples. This wasn't famine food, it was system food. And that difference matters more than taste ever could. Here's the realization the Aztecs reached. Tecuitlatl didn't make people stronger. It made them last longer. Aztec runners weren't built for brute force. They were built for distance. This food digested quickly. Centuries passed. Even though Tecuitlatl means rock excrement in the ancient Aztec language. However, Tecuitlatl returned, not as survival food, but as a product, rebranded, packaged, praised as ancient wisdom. But the context was gone. No overcrowded island city. No fragile food system. No empire depending on endurance. Remove the pressure, and the food loses its meaning. What once made perfect sense now looks insane. Because Tequitlatl was never about health. It was about survival. Do you know what it is called now? In our current modern generation, called it spirulina. It is the modern, globalized term for Tequitlatl. Shocking. Consumed mostly by the health-conscious and considered a superfood. Survival foods aren't remembered for what they saved, only for how strange they look once the danger is gone. This wasn't the first time people turned desperation into diet. In the next story, we'll look at another food designed to keep humans alive. Not by accident, but by design.